Okay, welcome to Roberts & Co. Friday night, and we're live. It's September. It's the first week of September. It's been a really warm week here in London. So, like I said at the start of all the live streams, we're in South East London on a very busy main road. The windows are open. It's the closest thing I've got to air conditioning. So the sound quality is going to be terrible. Double-decker buses, taxis, because it's 30 degrees outside. Convertible cars, music. The bars and restaurants are pretty busy right now because this is supposed to be Friday Night Live at 5, but we're about 2 hours late, so the bars and restaurants are filling up. On that note, start the background music in case some convertibles turn up. Just the YouTube copyright free music. Right, first of all, I think we'll do is have a little catch up on. It's been a busy week. What's been happening this week? Let's turn that down. Catch up on what's been happening this week, what's going to hopefully happen next week. So I've got some new videos. I'm making new videos, and I've got some new videos coming next week. One's just finished uploading. And then a little live jewelry making session. I need to make some toggle clasps. I've run out, and that's also one of the things that are on my bench, because we still need to tidy this bench up. But first of all, I don't want to complain about the weather, but I'm gonna. 30 degrees is the kind of weather people fly halfway around the world for. You know, it's holiday weather. It's been 30 degrees during the day, about 20 at night, which is fine if you're on holiday. It's not ideal. It's not exactly. I just find the cold and the rain and, you know, the misery of winter here in London, well, the misery of summer as well, it's always like that. It's motivational. The warms, you just want to chill out and relax. On that note, let's have a beer. Tonight we're drinking Estrella. Well, we're drinking ice. This is not ice in beer, this is a little bit of beer and a lot of ice. Estrella, it's that hot. This building was not built for 30 degree heat. We've got no air conditioning. It's built like a furnace out of old red brick by the Victorians, and every room has a coal fireplace in. And the original occupants would have had servants running around, making sure the fires were all well stocked with coal and lit. I can't even afford the coal, let alone the servants. And no, it doesn't have central heating. Right, cheers guys. One day we'll get all the mod cons. Maybe when the monetization kicks in. Right, this one's going to be short because what I found is it's not so much the heat or the humidity that hinders soldering. Sweat. Once the sweat starts dripping on the joints, it's time to call it a day. That's probably going to happen. This building won't cool down until about 6 or 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, by which point the sun comes back out. It starts to heat up again. It's probably about 30 degrees in here at the moment. I've just made a video about, which will be live this week, about the ingot molds we use. So that's just uploaded. I've just got to do the technical stuff for that, the title, description, subtitles and what have you, and then there will be a video. It's quite a long video, it's about half an hour, but it's quite a technical subject. So yeah, there's a long video coming about the ingot molds we use, the ingot molds we've used in the past and molten metals, but the focus is on ingot molds. And I've just begun filming. I just got I want to say new, but it's actually an antique ring stretcher from eBay. It's quite heavy. Boom. So yeah, I just made a video unboxing this. I've already got one of these, but it's a little bit damaged. It's also, I think that the one I had was a slightly newer model, although it looked the same. I think that one's probably the one. If I had to guess, I'd say that one's from the early 1900s, probably pre-1920, and the one I had already was probably post-1920, at a guess. and they're made from different material. But anyway, that's the video that I'm going to work on this week, because I really like those. They're really good for small rings. They work slightly differently, probably slightly better than modern ring stretchers from a technical perspective, but a little bit more faff to use. But right, let me show you what we're making. Toggle clasps, which are a ring and a bar. So I've already made the rings. I made the rings months ago. Let me show you a close-up of these. Rings and bars, and they need jump rings soldered on to each of them. I've got more rings made than bars, so I'm going to make a load of rings, and I've only got 3 bars straightened out, so we'll make those, and then that will be a project for the week, making the wire bars. But let's get started. So yeah, anyway, last week was busy making videos, doing the orders, making videos about ingot molds. The reason I made the video about ingot molds was actually because I had to make some more. The 1mm gold rings were really popular at the minute, but I think like the last video that had gone live, long format, was about making 1mm gold rings, and that was basically the next job that came up. So rather than, I had to get more gold and melt more gold, but rather than just going through the process and filming making the rings, I kind of focused on the ingot molds that we use, instead of just going through the process of making the whole process of making 1mm 9-carat gold rings again. I've actually got quite a lot of ring sizing machines already, so I guess I can slowly work through those one by one. I've got so many of them, it'll probably be an hour long video if I was to try and go into any kind of detail all in one video. Well, maybe I could do an overview video. Right, so I'm just straightening out the jump rings that will be soldered onto the ring of the toggle and the bar of the toggle. I can feel the sweat running down my forearms, but I think I'm going to do too many of these. What do jewelers do in hot countries? Not sweat. I mean, there are people making jewellery on the streets of India. It's like 40 degrees. Maybe they're acclimatised, not sweating like a pig like me. Maybe when it's 10 degrees and snowing, they're wondering how I'm making jewellery. Or they're shivering. Right, these rings are 9mm, the bars are 13mm. I wouldn't say there's a standard size for these aren't really, but these would be for sort of an average size. If there is such a thing, necklace or bracelet, they're not big, but they're not small. They pretty much suit any style of chain that's smaller in width than 9mm. Although it looks a bit odd if they're the exact same width. It kind of looks more aesthetically pleasing if they're slightly larger. Slightly wider than the chain. Right, fluxing the rings. I try and do these in one operation, so I'm effectively soldering 2 joints together and 2 rings together all at the same time. See how that pans out. I've done these loads of times, but for some reason I can't even remember how I did them before. The sweat is dripping off the end of my nose into the tray, which will ultimately end up in the scrap pot for refining. So there might be a little, on that data sheet of the that batch of scrap, there'll probably be some sodium, human sodium. suppose this is a relatively tricky job because you've got it's not just the fact that if one ring's 3mm in the outside diameter, one's 9. They're also made from different thicknesses, or if you're American, gauges of wire. So the 9mm rings are 1.5mm diameter wire, and I would guess that these 3mm jump rings are probably 0.6mm, 0.6mm wire. I don't know what that is in miles if you're American. You have to Google it. Whatever weird gauges you use for your wire. Come the police Friday night. Was that an ambulance? I think there's some sort of manhunt on the go here at the moment. I didn't look into it too much. So don't approach. I wasn't about to start, you know. I wasn't going on a manhunt myself. Don't worry. This is your job. Right, solder. I'm going for solder under the small jump ring just to lift them up. I need additional height to hit them in the middle of the 9mm jump ring as the different wire diameters. As long as there's soldered in the middle, we can straighten them out. Once they're attached. Because they'll be at an angle. I'm not entirely sure this was the best way to line these up. It might be better to put them in third hand tweezers, but we've done it now. using too little solder. I still might be using too little solder. Do another one. I think I underestimated how much solder these would require. I think they actually need about twice as much as I've cut. Which is not a problem, because I can add, while I'm soldering, there's already solder on the bottom, I can add another piece on the top. I'm actually not heating up the small ring at all. I'm just heating up the large ring. The residual heat is enough to drag. To drag the solder. This is one of those jobs where you might be thinking, why don't you just buy the silver findings? And you'd be right. But there is the reason is they keep changing the designs of them. So if we picture a piece of jewellery, so sometimes the design, sometimes these toggles will have little balls on the end of the bars. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They change the. Sometimes they'll change the direction 90 degrees. Is it 90 degrees? Yeah, 90 degrees of the link that attaches them. They just make subtle little changes, and quite often we don't notice until the customer notices we've made a whole batch of them, and people are often looking for any excuse to what people are often looking for is customers that want to send stuff back anyway, especially on the platforms where, you know, eBay not as described. They're looking for absolutely any reason. They're going to send it back anyway, but they're just looking for absolutely any reason. Most of them just make stuff up. It's a lie. But sometimes they're not as described. You know, like we've found that with findings. So it's just for consistency. So we don't have to rephoto. First of all, I wouldn't notice. I don't notice things like that. Oddly enough, like if they they have balls on, they don't have balls on the end, stuff like that. But once we do, it means you've got to retake all the photographs again for the whole, whatever products have got that particular finding on. So it's just easier for continuity to make everything entirely in-house. It's not cost effective though. It'd be more cost effective for me to go and get a minimum wage job in the coffee shop downstairs and then pay someone in Asia to do this for me. But then you could probably say that about a lot of things. The solder flowed to the wrong side of that jump ring for some reason. end up with an unsoldered joint and a fat back. Let's see how they look. I'm starting to sweat a lot. I think I might have to take a break. Call it a day until it cools down. The weather gets colder next week, so we're back in business next week. Right, I think most of those, all of them actually, if not the vast majority of the jump rings, were centred. They're in the middle of the 9mm ring, but they may need to slightly straightening out so that they're parallel with the ring. That was actually good. these will be barrel polished, so that one looks like it needs more solder. I think I significantly underestimated how much solder these needed. Looks good. Looks good. Good. Okay, there we go. That is the ring parts made. Next I'll need to make these, but I am dripping with sweat. I think I'm not going to push my luck when it comes to trying to solder too much tonight. Those are the rings, and then once we put the same size ring on each of in the middle of each of these bars, there'll be the two parts of the clasp. So the toggle, that will go through there with the ring on. And you have the two halves of a toggle clasp. At least that's some of the jobs on the bench done. Still got a whole pile of those rings to make. According to the live stream, we're going 37 minutes, so it might be like sort of half an hour's work there. How many have we made? 8. Well, 4 because we've got to make the bars. Oh no, there is another one, 9. So yeah, right. I'm going to call it a day there. Go and cool down somewhere, maybe outside the pub. It's Friday after all. And I will see you, well, there'll be some more videos coming very soon. This week there will definitely be the long form video about the ingot molds. Loads of shorts from the previous video, which was about saw frames. There'll be loads of shorts from the ingot mold, extracted from the ingot mold video. And then next up after that, we at some point will have a video about my new, well, my antique ring sizing machine that I've just got. So yeah, lots more to come. So I'll see you next one. Toodles.